Hi y'all, welcome back to Feelin' Froggy Knits. My name is Maya and today we're on the floor. My name is Maya. I like to make videos on YouTube to accompany you with whatever you're doing. If you're making like me, knitting, crocheting, sewing, or whatever else you're getting up to. And today's video, this week's little pairing.
Yes, with the Feelin' Froggy Knits YouTube video, I'd like to pair that with a nice Zinfandel.
What you will be pairing your craft with this week is my yarn stash. Now, I have made a video on my YouTube channel where I go through my yarn stash. I show you everything that I have and talk about what plans I had for them. That was a couple of months ago now. I did it at the beginning of the year. And since then, it is, I've worked on some stuff. I've definitely worked through a lot of stash yarn, but the one thing that it still is unorganized. I am one of those people that wants to be organized so bad and is not. Is it a curse? Yes, it feels like a curse sometimes. It just means that I have to be way more intentional when I am organized. So I have a really easy time just falling onto old bad habits, and I know that the state of my yarn stash is one of those things, and I'm really trying my hardest to not be that way anymore, because I'm an adult grown woman and should be able to keep things neat and tidy. That being said, this is a big ol' mess. Now, what I have learned about organizing in my short little life is that you really need systems in place to be able to keep organized if you are like me and it doesn't come naturally. Now, whether that be one of those rules that if you see it, you pick it up, that has really helped me in keeping tidy around my house, things like that. I have not been applying that to yarn. We're slowly but surely working to it. So that's why I am going to use the wonderful tool that is Ravelry to be able to organize my stash. This way I will be able to document everything: weight, yardage, how much of each, all this stuff. Ravelry has that already set, ready to go. You can see the distance of your whole stash. I watched NE Knits and her stash is like 10 miles long. Love. Let's address the little elephant in the room, and that is my trunk right here. Not really the typical space to store yarn. I know a lot of people like bins or shelves. This way just seems the best for me to store yarn, not only because it's being kept in a place that is away from light and high heat. So just think of like your yarn that might sit in the sunlight. I mean, the sunlight degrades things over time, it can bleach it, all these things. So these yarns are away from the sun and just not out, if that makes sense. Now that you all have seen kind of the current state of my yarn, I just kind of like to talk about my stash as it is right now. Back when I flashed my stash in January of this year, I had a lot of projects in mind. I had, I think, 4 projects where I had multi-hanks or multi-skeins of yarn for that project. Since then, I've either started or finished with most of those multi-hank yarns. But what that means for my yarn stash is that it looks very jumbled. There are so many different kinds of yarn in my stash. different brands, fibers, weights, all this kind of stuff. So it does make it seem like even more of a mess than it really is, which it is a big mess. With that, I think my first task that I am going to need to complete is to take every bit of yarn out and organize it by weight. I think that will be the easiest way to then go from there and be able to go onto Ravelry. I assume then that that'll make it the easiest way to input it into the system. I'll just go from like small to large. That makes sense to me. Well, I hope that you all have beautifully organized yarn stashes. And if you don't, that is just a-okay by me. Keep it that way, honestly. Who cares? As long as you're happy. Organizing was like way faster than I thought, so everything is now laid out. But I've come over to stash, and it looks like what I need to do is just say add to stash, and we will go through all of this. It's gonna be a lot, but here we go. I wanna start with something I have multiple hangs of so I can get a lot in there. Okay. One down, a million to go. I guess as I input them into Ravelry, I will put them back in my yarn trunk. How I'm going to organize them, who the frick knows, but we're gonna try. Well, that is 3 down, a bunch more to go, and I am just going to quietly I think input and try to put a dent in that yarn. So I think I'll check back in either if I get a big jolt of energy and inspiration, maybe I'll check back in when I'm done, but I'll probably just check back in when I'm like done. Can't do it no more. Here we go. It's a couple days later, but I really got a lot done in a very short amount of time. Something that I didn't know was possible, especially when organizing stuff. It's coming to my attention that things don't actually take that much time to organize, and I need to get that thought out of my head. It didn't take long, as expected. And my Ravelry is completely stocked with all of my yarns that I have in my stash. The only thing is that I thought it would like auto-populate with pictures, even if it's not the color with just like the yarn. And just looking at a bunch of squares with like a yarn icon in it, not really what I was going for. Because as you know, I did organize my yarn stash into my trunk as I was putting it into Ravelry, which means I have to take them all out again to be able to take pictures. So that is the lovely little task at hand, and heck yeah, let's do it. Now that everything has been input into my Ravelry, all of the yarn is in there. I've taken pictures for everything, and I was looking at it and was like, Willow, you wanna say hi? So I had put everything into Ravelry. The yarns were inputted, I took pictures, but then I was like, I have no projects in Ravelry, and a lot of people use Ravelry to look at like other people's projects. So I think I'm going to now take pictures of and put in all of my completed knits. And then after that, I think I'm going to input all of my works in progress as well. is organized in the trunk, on Ravelry, everywhere. Like I said to start off this video, organizing and being organized is something that myself, I am just terrible at. For some people, organization does come naturally. It just means that I have to work harder at it, which is just fine by me, because the more time that I get to spend with my stash, with my yarn, projects, all that kind of stuff, the happier I am. These projects and yarns just bring me so much joy. So being able to work through them, work with them, go through them, it's been a pleasure. So I hope that you all already have your Ravelries all set up, ready to go, unlike me. But if you don't, then maybe this video might give you a little bit of inspiration to do the same for yourself. It does feel really good to see all of the photos and everything up on the website, to see those projects that are whips and then those completed ones on there. And I've actually started a queue. There are 3 projects in my queue right now that I am really excited to get started on. We've got some gifts queued up, as well as a couple pieces for me, myself, and I. Well, y'all, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a little like. And if you would like to see more of me, subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every week. Have a wonderful rest of your night or day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.